Hello everyone, Tucker here at Mass Effect Follower, and I am here with Jossom Hендрiksom, who is a level designer at Mass Effect Andromeda. So, starting off, what exactly is your job?
So I'm a level designer, which means I work together with a writer and artists and cinematic designers and basically everyone, and I bring everyone together in creating experiences and missions.
Alright, and so what is an average day for you then, with that as your job?
Well, it largely depends on where we are in the project, but most of the time I communicate with all of my team members on a daily basis to make sure that everyone stays on the same page while we build missions for the game.
And how did you get that job at BioWare?
Well, I worked in the game industry for a little while before joining BioWare, and after playing Mass Effect, I applied because I really enjoyed the first game, and I wanted nothing more than to be part of that.
Where did you work before BioWare?
Two independent studios that unfortunately since went under. So
Well, that's kind of some stuff that happens with the industry. Is some go under, some don't. But so as a level designer, when you are presented a level, like, we want to do this kind of area, what is the first things that go through your mind?
It's important to find the context in which things need to happen. Usually when a level starts, when we lay down the foundation for a mission or an area, a writer and I will sit down and we will figure out what story is going to get told, what beats we have to hit, what characters we have to engage with, and based on that we try and flesh out a plan, a script.
And what levels did you work on in Andromeda?
I'm not sure if I can talk about it because of spoiler reasons.
Well, what areas that players might find early on in the game, or?
Well, my focus for this game has largely been the critical path, or the main missions that you would play as a player going from the start to the end of the story. And on top of that, I've helped oversee the design of all the loyalty missions in the game.
All right, and so, you worked on the main missions, so the side missions and things like that, those were other people.
Yes.
But the main missions, you were always there watching over, making sure everything was going all right?
I was one of the designers who helped with the main missions. There's a couple of us, but I was very involved in the critical path, yes.
And Mass Effect Andromeda, not just is it different from the trilogy in a new game and everything like that, it's an entirely new galaxy. So how did that help creatively and everything like that when it came to creating levels?
It's actually, it's been fun, it's been interesting because in the Milky Way, especially towards the end of the later games, you had explored basically everything. Everything was a known quantity, and one of the great things here is that it's all new. You don't know what any of it is, and there might be new secrets everywhere. And I think even just from a level design perspective, it's really exciting to have that feeling of you don't know what's next.
So, like in Mass Effect 3, for example, when you had a mission on Ilium, you knew what it looked like because
Right.
It's Asari, it's their buildings and things like that. While with this, you don't know what the Angara stuff look like, or the Ket, or the other things that are there.
Yeah.
What inspired some of the designs of the levels?
Well, especially now that we have jump as part of the core movement, verticality became more important, and so honestly, it's been a lot of experimentation on finding the right approach to it, because new mobility means that you have to use it, otherwise why would you have it? And I think that's one of the most interesting parts of my job, is to help find out how we can use it in a way that encourages players to explore and encourages people to look around more and figure out what they're doing.
So would you say that even though the jump mechanic is amazing, and I've been playing the game for over 10 hours now, and I absolutely love the jump mechanic. But was that a challenge when it came to really figuring everything out, or did that open up new doors for ideas?
I mean, both. New things always have a challenge initially to figure out where it fits in the grand scheme of things, especially if jump is such a prevalent part of it. How much do we use it? How much can we use it? There's a whole whackload of metrics that we have to take care of to make sure that the player experience when jumping is good and the player understands where to use it and how. But at the same time, it has opened up doors for us. It allowed us to build bigger missions and also use that extra verticality and mobility to really just improve combats and to improve the amount of exploration a player can do in a mission.
And on the topic of just how big the area is, I mean, right now the first planet that you're on, EOS, is massive. It's huge. How did you, and I know you said you didn't do planets, but this is the same thing with missions. How did you make it so these missions are huge, but each area is still unique in its own way?
Well, it's, I think for missions, an important part is narrative context. There are different spaces that you can use to tell a story, and I think one of the important parts is to effectively use what space you're showing and make that part of the narrative. And I think in my work, especially in my work on Andromeda, having these different spaces and evoking exploration and invoking a sense of what is this place has been a really key part in making sure the player feels grounded and can relate to what they're doing.
And we talked about some of the challenge of the jump jet, but in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, more specifically in the later two, that if you went into an area, it was a big empty area with knee-high walls, you knew things were about to happen. While with Andromeda, there is now the automated cover system where if you have a weapon out, you go up against a wall or whatever cover. How did you use that guy, again, kind of with the jump jet? Did that open up new branches, or was that more of a, okay, we need to get this to work? Or
well, the automatic cover system has allowed us to be a bit more free about the way we lay things down. You are going to need a good cover layout if you have a significant fight that you need to get through. So there will always be a bit of crafted experience there, but we try our best to make it feel as natural as we can.
yeah, it really seems, from what I was playing, it really seems like it's not, okay, they're knee-high walls that are there because you need cover. It's more, it feels natural to the building because you can now use everything as cover.
Yeah.
So that was really fantastic. When creating a level, what is some of your favorite things to do?
Honestly, misdirection, making the player think to go a certain way, and then making them go another way because things close down or change.
What do you mean by that?
For instance, there are a lot of examples in games where this happens, but a player can get ambushed, or we can redirect a player by having them cross a bridge, and then the bridge falls away, and then the player doesn't expect these things, but when it happens, it's a bit of excitement because we need to adapt to this new situation, and it's really enjoyable.
So kind of like, there are enemies here, they're in cover and whatnot, and you're fighting through, and all of a sudden enemies are now coming at you from where you used to be, so now you have to use their cover. Kind of like that, right?
For instance, yeah.
What is one of your most proudest achievements with Mass Effect Andromeda?
Oh, that's a tough question. I've done a lot of different things in the game, but I think creating, especially the critical path, creating missions that really evoke Mass Effect as a feeling and as an experience. I think we nailed the nail on the head with the critical path and with the loyalty missions. I think it is an exceptional Mass Effect experience.
Yeah, And finally, what does Mass Effect mean to you?
I mean, Mass Effect has been part of my life, professionally, of course, for about 8.5 years now.
Wow.
And having worked on the trilogy and now on Andromeda, it's really part of my career, and it's part of who I am as well. Because when I played the original game, the first Mass Effect, it sparked that sense of wonder, that sense of there's more out there, and I think it's such a wonderful and optimistic feeling that it's hard to let go of that.
Well, this was Jos Hendricks. Again, he is a level designer, Mass Effect Andromeda. If any questions that some fans asked, if they weren't answered in this, what's the best way that they can ask you?
Well, I'm on Twitter, which I'm sure you can provide.
Yeah.
And I try to be active on our forums and on the various social media that engage with Mass Effect. So I'll try and keep an eye out. And otherwise, you can always reach me on Twitter.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to the fans?
I honestly just really hope that Mass Effect Andromeda gives you that experience that I felt originally with the first Mass Effect. We've certainly put in a lot of effort to make it a memorable and special experience.
All right. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.